Introducing NVK Variations. This is a Reaper script designed to create unique variations of sounds. And while it's easy to use, the results are quite powerful. Whether you are working on a game, film, sound library, or even music, it can help you with almost any sound design task, allowing you to explore new ideas and quickly find the right sound for your project. Let's take a look at how it works. First, select your items, then run the script. These items will stay selected until you close the script. So if you want to use a different set of items, you'll need to close the script and reopen it with the new item selected. Let's start with the variations section. By changing the amount slider, you can choose how many variations you want to create. There isn't any randomization applied yet, but as you can see, the script has moved to the next take in each item. The difference slider limits how much the length of each take can extend beyond the original length. You generally won't need to adjust this, but it can be useful if you need to constrain the length of the variations. The mode setting determines how new takes are selected. Default simply selects the next take in each item, while random will randomly select a take. Chaos will go to a completely random offset, and finally, none will keep the content the same. You can also mix and match the modes, but we'll get to that later. In the pitch section, you can add a random pitch shift to each item. The higher the amount, the more pitch shift will be added. Right-clicking on the slider will generate new random values. You can also create pitch movement with the envelope slider. As you move this slider, more automation points will be added, increasing the amount of movement. And below this, you can choose the pitch mode. The default is play rate, which changes the length of the item in addition to the pitch. Shift will instead keep the length the same, and random will randomly choose one of the two modes. Moving on to the position section, you can set the space between each variation. You can also right-click to change the mode from seconds to beats. With the space setting on auto, your items will be automatically spaced. Moving on to the offset slider, here you can add a random offset to each variation. And just like the pitch slider, you can right-click to generate new random values. The track slider will randomly change the track of each variation. If you have different effects in each track, this means you can have your items processed differently for each variation. As you can imagine, this can lead to some pretty interesting results. Here we have the volume and pan sections, which, as you might expect, add randomized volume and pan to each item. And like the other sections, the envelope sliders add movement, and right-clicking will generate new random values. In addition, the mute slider will add a random chance that items will be muted. The tone section is one of my favorite features. When you increase the tone slider, a random EQ will be added to each item. The higher the value, the more extreme the EQ will be. And with the envelope slider, you can add movement to the various EQ points. It's great for stretching your content even further. With all of these settings combined, you can create some pretty amazing variations. You can also randomize all the settings at once by right-clicking on the variations slider. This is especially useful if you're trying to find the right sound for a single variation. If you change the amount to 0, instead of creating variations, the script will apply the randomization to your selected items. This allows you to quickly try out a bunch of possibilities. Once you are happy with the results, you can click the Apply button to close the script and save the results to your project. If you want to start over, you can click the Reset button to reset all the settings. And if you decide you don't want to change anything, just close the script and your items will return to their previous state. If you want to get more specific with your settings, we have the Item Overrides panel. Here you can disable settings for each item by clicking on the toggle button. For example, you might want to keep the content the same for one of the items. You can do this by clicking on the Variations toggle button. Or if you want to change the mode of a specific item to Chaos, you can right-click on it instead. At the top of the script, we have a few additional settings. First, we have the Crossfade Overlapping Items button. If you change the position of the variations so they overlap, this will automatically crossfade them. And next to that, we have the Ripple Mode setting. This is useful when you have existing items in the same track as your variations and need to make room. If you come up with some settings you like and want to save them for later, you can click the Add New Preset button. This will create a new preset with your current settings, which you can load at any time. You can also right-click on the preset tabs to rename them or change the color. Now that we have a preset saved, we can use it to create a variation with a hotkey. In your actions list, you'll find new variation and randomized scripts that correspond to the preset numbers. Since we saved a preset in the first slot, we can use new variation preset 1 to instantly create a new variation with those settings. You can assign this to a hotkey to quickly create a variation without having to open the script. You can also use the randomized variation script to randomize the settings of the current variation. So that's NVK Variations. I've been using it for a while now, and it's become an essential part of my workflow. I hope you find it useful too. Thanks for watching.